my point is, I learned at a young age that people will take your weaknesses and use them against you. I mean, you know, you can just be the most innocent person in the world, and whoever that person is, if they find out, they're going to use it against you, you know. They're going to take advantage of you, and that's just the way the world is. So not really understanding, you know, Jay, but this, I developed, I didn't even know what was going on, and I can't really take credit for it, but I developed this Flex Wheeler character who just didn't take no shit. Like I said, I always fought. I was always great at fighting, but the Flex Wheeler guy didn't mind fighting, so I could switch over to him, and if you wanted to make it happen, I'm like, man, let's make it happen. I'm gonna enjoy hurting you. But that wasn't me as Kenny Wheeler, so I just started buying more into the Flex Wheeler character. People liked him more than they liked me, and you know, like right around like 19, 20, I fully just transitioned over to just being Flex all the time. So that was that cocky, arrogant, you know, person who walked through the door, but it was truly never me. It was just me being, you know, pretending to be that way. I mean,
creating the Sundown Trophy.
Flex Wheeler's story is one of the most powerful and heartbreaking stories in bodybuilding because it shows what happens when someone rises too fast, carries too much pressure, and never feels allowed to slow down. Flex didn't grow up with an easy life as a kid. He dealt with things that made him feel small and misunderstood, and instead of having a normal childhood, he spent most of it fighting battles inside of his own mind. The world didn't see that part of him. They only saw the muscles, the buffness, the trophies, and the name Flex Wheeler, but behind all the success was someone who never felt like he was enough.
So like right at it, there's so many guys, like ask anyone.
Yeah, no, I you know, I get that. You know, I am still who I am. I still do have my mental challenges. I guess, you know, now it's incredibly hard to just accept you know, compliments. I've always been that person. That's why I came off arrogant, because somebody be like, wow, that's a nice car. I'm like, yeah, it's just a car, you know, or like, you know, wow, you got a great physique. And I'm like, well, it's just your opinion, you know. So I always find a way to lessen that. But, you know, I do understand that I'd rather be a non-Mr. Olympia title holder and people believe that I should have been, instead of being a Mr. Olympia and people saying you didn't deserve that, you know. So I do that. Yeah, I do get that, and you know, I appreciate it. But it's, you know, I understand now more so than anything that was just not written for me. I mean,
when he found bodybuilding, it felt like he finally discovered the one place where the world couldn't control him. In the gym, he was strong. In the mirror, he was someone who looked like the opposite of everything he went through as a kid. And once he got his first taste of success, the praise, the fame, the spotlight, it hit him so completely fast, almost too fast. Everyone was calling him the crazy symmetry god, saying that he had one of the greatest physiques ever created. And even though that should have made him feel proud, it also added pressure he carried like a weight on his back.
You know, I wouldn't be allowed to eat that amount, so, but everybody had to find their way, man. It was different back then. We didn't have all the technology and knew what micros and minerals was.
What would you have all done different if you would have like made your diet nowadays?
You know, it wouldn't even been a diet. It would have just been self-belief, you know, just, you know, if you imagine how powerful words are, you know, say you and your girl get into an argument and you call her, you know, horrible names, or she called you horrible names. You know you're not that, but it affects you. It affects you emotionally. If a person came out and disrespected you, you know, a guy, you're going to respond to him probably physically, even though you know he's not. You know, somebody called me the N-word, they're going to get a whole different version of me. But I know I'm not an N, so that's how powerful words are, just from strangers. So imagine if you knew the key things to say to yourself, how much more powerful that was. So just having that thought of like believing I can instead of believing that I can't, or saying that I can win instead of that I can't. It just changed the whole trajectory of just your thought, and then how much more you're willing to dive in to give up things like that and suffer. So for me, it wouldn't be the dieting, because my dieting was spot on. My cheating was triggered from my thoughts. Not going anyway, dude. Why go that hard anyway? You know, I mean, you're not gonna win, so what difference does it make? So that would allow me to go and think that I could cheat. But if I believed that I could, I would be like just all in, just gun ho, just like everything I had. So my mental thoughts triggered everything, and I know that's hard for people to believe, but you know, there's an old cliche, where the mind goes, the body will follow. So if you're distorted and you're having all these mental challenges, it's going to manifest some way. It's going to manifest some way, whether you're aware of it or not.
Everyone around him expected him to always be the best person. Flex pushed himself so hard that he stopped listening to his own limits. He rushed for success because he felt like slowing down would make everything fall apart. He wanted to live up to the legend people created all around him. Inside, he was still the kid trying to prove he wasn't weak.
Yeah, so...
And then you know how to dance, and you know how to, you know...
I don't know how to dance.
Well, I mean, the way it looks like, you know what you're doing.
I would do like maybe 2 or 3 movements, and that's it before people figured out. But no, I'm an introvert. So normally, you know, introverts are extroverts when they're on stage, you know. So I was always uncomfortable on stage, uncomfortable in my skin. But I learned at a young age, if people find out your weaknesses, they'll use them against you. So if I walk out on stage and I'm like, then people are gonna dig deeper. Like, what's wrong with this? Oh, I see this, I this. But if I walk out confident and arrogant, they give me a once over and then don't pay attention. Kind of like if I walked into this building and it smelled great, but it didn't look really clean. From the smell of it, I'm gonna relax. I'm gonna look around a little bit, oh, it's okay. Mm-hmm. But if the room really stunk, but it was spotless, I'm gonna continue looking, where is that? Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So that's the way it is on stage. If you look confident, people are gonna give you a once over and they're gonna kind of relax. But if you're up there very unconfident and you're looking at yourself and they're gonna stare you down like, oh, okay, well, you know, what is it? And they'll start picking things apart. So that was kind of my thought on that whole thing.
Especially in the world you're in, because in the world you're in, you know, it's like you said earlier, subjective versus, you know,
in your underwear in front of millions of people.
In underwear.
So this lifestyle didn't just come without consequences. The pressure to maintain perfection in a sport that demands everything made him ignore warning signs from his own body. His kidneys began failing, a slow, painful reminder that he couldn't outrun the damages forever. Doctors told him to slow down, but slowing down felt like, you know, him being a failure. And in bodybuilding, he was admired outside of it. He felt lost, so he pushed harder, pretending everything was all fine, but deep down it was not fine.
Two other Olympians or so, and you're like, what does it really matter? Because they have an Olympia title to them and I don't.
Yeah. No, he was saying that the respect I have from other Olympians and other competitors and stuff like that, and you know, it doesn't matter. They have something I don't. I mean, I didn't understand it then, you know, how powerful Olympia was and the history of it. I didn't grow up like that with magazines in my gym and stuff like that, so I didn't know the history of it. But I mean, your trajectory of life just changes when you win Olympia. It doesn't matter whether people like you or not, they're gonna buy what you have. I mean, back then, you know, we would bring suitcases of shirts and pictures, and we would sell out, you know. I mean, easily making $15,000 to $20,000 a day, you know. But when you have that, I remember when Ronnie, you know, years before, didn't do well, hardly anybody bought his photos, but after he won that Olympia, he's like, dude, he goes, man, you know, I made $20,000, $30,000. He goes, I sell out, I'll have stuff flowing in, you know, to make more. But it's so much respect that they have for those Olympia titles. So, you know, they call me, you know, uncrowned Mr. Olympia and all that. That's great and everything like that, but it doesn't really, you know, contribute to the accolade of actually having that title.
Flex's life outside the stage had its own struggles too: financial stress, personal stress, and the feeling that he needed to carry everything alone made things even harder. There were times when people close to him started doubting him, criticizing him, or putting pressure on him because the money wasn't the same as before. That kind of pressure hits incredibly hard when you're already fighting your own mind. It makes Flex feel even way more depending on how successful he looked. When he reached the point where his body could no longer keep up, the consequences caught up fast. He went through several serious health problems. Eventually, he had to face surgeries that changed his life forever. Losing part of his leg later on wasn't just a physical loss, it was the final proof that years of pushing himself without rest had taken more from him than he ever expected.
I'm not just going to talk about it, but I'm going to put it out publicly in a book so everybody sees my dirty laundry.
Right. So the answer to the first question, when did I realize it? I think the time that you have to try to put on a facade or act differently, you have to realize it, right? In order for me to tell a lie, I have to realize what the truth is. Therefore, that's the reason why I'm changing that. So it's funny when people lie. It's like, I don't care if you lie. You can't lie to yourself. As soon as you lie, you've already accepted that you know what the truth is, right? So that's the answer to that. As soon as I started trying to put on a facade, I realized who I really was. When I started trying to identify and wanting to change, it's like when I found out that I had this kidney disease that was going to take my life, and we didn't know how long I'd be here. And Rico had gave his life back to God, and he changed right in front of me. Like within like a year, he just slowly started clicking off at things, not cussing, not wanting to go out, not want to hang out, not wanting to chase girls. And it profoundly affected me because this is my dog, man. We traveled the world together. We done everything together. We fought, we hurt people, we helped people. So I remember asking him one day, what's going on with you, man? He's like, nothing. I'm like, no, tell me what's going on with you. And I can understand him thinking like, I could never tell Flex this. This dude is so far off the chain. Like, God can't help him. Nobody can help this dude because he's so full of himself. And I kept harping him, and he goes, fine, man. I start going to church, all right? And I was like, cool, man. I want to go. And he goes, no, it's okay. Because it's like he thought I was BSing. And the bad part about it, I was raised in church. Rico never seen a church. But when he grafted, he just didn't. He just like bodybuilding, acting, everything else, he didn't deviate from that game. And he affected me so tremendously. I started going to church, and I started restudying the Bible. And I'm not a Bible thumper now. I don't beat nobody over the head with my beliefs. My beliefs are my beliefs, and you can have yours. They don't change mine. Bless you, whatever yours are. But I'm good with mine. You can say anything you want. My faith is unbreakable. And I don't need to walk around like
That's the way it should be.
Yeah, it's Superman. So
it wasn't the fall of a weak man. It was the fall of someone who gave everything he had to just be enough in his own mind space. So what makes Flex Wheeler's story so human is that he wasn't selfish, arrogant, or careless. He was someone who wanted to be wanted, and he just had to portray that he was arrogant because he was just hiding his insecurity. So someone who wanted to prove he was strong enough to survive everything he went through, someone who rushed success because he didn't want to lose the feeling of being admired or whatever. But the truth is, no amount of admiration can save you from yourself if you never stop to heal those traumas. So Flex's downfall wasn't just a sudden thing. It was just years of pressure, fear, and silent pain stacked up on top of each other. And his story teaches us a lesson most people miss. Rising fast feels amazing, but rising too fast without balance can destroy you, because Flex didn't genuinely want to be a bodybuilder. It was really hard for him to just try to feel like he was about that life. And even Dorian Yates saw that.
I remember Flex Wheeler once said, he says, I never saw Dorian as beatable. But that's Flex Wheeler. Like Flex Wheeler during that time was a human specimen. Like he was the LeBron James of bodybuilding. You looked at his physique and you're like, how does this make any sense? But he himself didn't psychologically think you were beatable.
Well, that's the advantage that I had over him. I had a little bit more mental tenacity. Probably Flex had more natural talent than me, because let's say that I did everything and I achieved 100% like my effort and dedication, and so I got 100% of my potential fulfilled. we'll never know, but let's say for argument that I did, I would say that Flex probably maybe did 70%. Because he might break his diet a little bit.
Would his 100 have beaten you?
Very possibly.
Meaning, could you have won a single one if Flex was 100% there?
We'll never know, but I did
You're
say
a pretty logical guy, though.
When we were competing together, I said, like, if this guy did what I do, I have a real hard time beating him. Because I know
if he did what you did.
Yeah, if he did what I did, if he had my brain, my approach, my dedication, because he seemed to develop this phenomenal physique with not, an absolute great deal of effort. It came quite easy to him, I think, and I think sometimes when things come easy, you don't need to really look and search for that, to do that 100%, because it's already there, right?
I agree.
But even after everything, Flex Wheeler is still respected all over the world, not just for his physique, but for his honesty, his survival, and his ability to keep going despite losing things that once defined him. His story isn't just about bodybuilding, it's about being human, it's about how success can lift you up, but rushing it can also tear you down. And it's a reminder that real strength isn't about how much you can lift, it's about the mental strength that you can just impart in those hard times. That's what real strength is. But overall, you guys let me know your thoughts about Flex Wheeler situation. Enough yapping. Peace out.
I had and ran with it, and you were a big part of that. And I've said this so many times, I looked up to you because you kind of look like me and everything. I would literally, videotape. I'll go to one of his shows, which was Ironman. Yeah, went to that show, and then I came back home. My buddies would videotape me doing the exact same posing routine, trying to, just emulate him. And also, you just taught everybody. We always talk about this. You taught everybody the business side of bodybuilding. So I thank you for that. And our rivalry is just like historic, right? You always have like a great person, but there's always another great person on the other side, and you end up going head to head. Unlike Dexter, there was no rivalry for him. No, I'm just kidding.
He was ahead of his class, Dexter.
Kind of thrown in the whole shebang because I was associated with him, so I would get interviewed. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? Drugs is cheating. I'm like, how is it cheating? Well, you guys are using drugs. I'm like, okay, but all of us are. So again, how is it cheating? Well, it's using drugs is illegal. I'm like, oh, okay. So does that make it dangerous? Yeah, it's dangerous. Oh, all right. Because last time I checked, cigarettes are more dangerous. Is it okay because it's legal? And what is one of the biggest cliches that we have in the United States? Take 2 aspirins and call them in the morning. So if I decode that, take some drugs, leave me alone, and I hope they work, call me tomorrow. So we're living in a drug-induced environment already, but what I do to take care of myself and to make a living and try to take care of my family and income is bad because I take these drugs, but you're not bad because you smoke. That's okay because it's legal. Or because you drink alcohol. I remember when alcohol was illegal. Why is it illegal now? Because they figured out a way to make money off of it. It still is bad. I go, and so then they get really upset when you get deep with them. I'm like, wow, I think people have probably killed more people drunk driving than any bodybuilder has taking their drugs. He goes, well, you're hurting your body. I'm like, and smoking and drinking isn't? Let's get to the bigger picture. Let's get to the bigger, playing field. What about cocaine and all the bigger drugs? So the majority of, all of you guys do that, but is it because it's upper class? If you talk about that, you might be walking into some president's office or some mayor's office, some government office. So you keep that, so what's really more important, just to highlight what you think is bad? Or should we all say it's all bad? You're an adult, you clean your backyard, I'll clean my backyard. I'll stay in my lane, you stay in your lane, but it's easier for you to do that because you don't want to touch on those things.